Okay, so now bishop to e3 by Carlsen, preparing to push c5. So that's why to stop this, knight to a6. And since black is now threatening to push f4, so to stop this, f4 by Carlsen. Now there are multiple ways for black to continue this game. Black can play queen to e7, keeping an eye on this pawn. He can also simply capture the pawn or even push it further. Another interesting idea is knight to c5, which also looks quite playable, but instead here black goes for h4. And that's a mistake because now you can see black completely loses focus from the center, and now white can take advantage of this by capturing this e5 pawn. And if bishop takes e5, then white will activate his knight by knight to f3, and if d takes e5, now comes c5, and you can see white can go for bishop to c4 in the next move. And let's suppose if black decides to just slide this king, getting out from this range, so bishop to h5 with the idea of bishop to g6 and then queen to d5, which will target this knight on h7. So to stop this, if bishop to e8, simply white can exchange this bishop, and now comes b4. And now just look at these pawns. I mean, they are just amazing. And if you are worried about the move, let's suppose f4, which targets this bishop, no need, simply just slide this bishop to f2, and you can see that this h4 pawn is under attack. And now on the very next move, white can also play b5, which is going to target this knight, and because of this you can see white is better. But in the actual game, after the move h4, Carlsen missed this move and he goes for knight to f3. And now for black, it's better to just capture this f4 pawn and then knight to c5, so that he can keep an eye over these pawns, or we can say this center. But he missed that and he goes for queen to e7, and again white has option to capture on e5. This is because after d takes e5, now comes d6, attacking this queen. And let's suppose if queen takes d6, queen takes d6, c takes d6, and now comes rook to d1, attacking this d6 pawn. And let's suppose if black tries to attack this bishop on f4 by f4, simply bishop to b6. And you can see white is going to push this pawn to c5, taking benefit of this pinned d6 pawn, and you can see white is doing great. But after queen to e7, here Carlsen goes for queen to d2. He missed that move, and now black simply pushed. After that, a4, a good move by black, covering this b3 square so that this knight can't enter. And now it's better for white to go for queen to e1 so that he can push g3 in future. But instead, he goes for bishop to h5, attacking this rook. Yeah, basically we can say, yeah, white is targeting this rook, but it also allows the move rook to g3, which is played by black. And you can see here black infiltrate over this g3 square. And obviously you can see you cannot go for bishop to f2 to target this rook due to the threat of rook to d3, which will target this queen supported by this pawn. So that's why after seeing this all, bishop to d1, rerouting it to a better square like c2. And after that, knight to c5. And in the next move, black is going to capture this active knight. So that's why here Carlsen brings his c knight on d2, defending this knight as well as attacking this rook. And now rook to h6 might be the better option, but here black made a mistake by exchanging the rooks, basically giving control to Carlsen on this g file. Okay, so now knight to g3 and you can see the threat. So to defend this, rook to f8. And guys, now can you guess the next move which white can play in this position? And guys, the move which white can go for is this move, which is bishop to d1. And some of you be like, bro, what's the purpose behind this move? Okay, so let's suppose if black decides to bring this knight to d3, which is a very strong outpost for this knight. But guys, now comes knight to h5. And yes, that's the idea behind this move bishop to d1, so that he can guard this knight, which is targeting this g7 square supported by this rook. So that's why the only move for black is rook to g8. But now white can bring his another piece into the action by queen to g2. And you can see the pressure, and you can see this pressure is increasing on this bishop. So let's suppose if black decides to bring this queen back to e7. And now I just want you all to pause the video and try to find the next crushing move which white can play in this position. And guys, if you find the move knight takes f5, then congratulations, you are a genius. So what's the main idea behind this sacrifice? Guys, after bishop takes f5, now comes bishop to d4, and you can see now no one can defend this bishop. Obviously black cannot capture this bishop due to the threat of queen takes g8. So that's, yeah, if this happens, then simply this is mate. So that's why the only best move left for black is to just block this route of this bishop. But it's too late because of knight takes g7, rook takes g7, queen takes g7 check, queen takes g7, rook takes g7, king takes g7, f takes e5, d takes e5, bishop takes e5 check, and in the next move white will capture this c7 pawn. And yup, that's all. But let me go back. After the move rook to f8, here Carlsen goes for Okay, so now here queen to d2 by Carlsen, but guys, he must consider the move queen to f1 so that he can also keep an eye over this h3 pawn. Everything was fine till here, but here black made a mistake by bringing this bishop back to g7, which is literally makes no sense because this bishop on h6 was previously targeting this f4 square, so why would you just release the pressure? And Carlsen takes benefit of this. He immediately slides his queen to g2, preparing for the move knight takes f5 so that he can grab this bishop. And here's the best move for black is to just bring this queen to h6 so that he can guard this bishop, but instead he goes for knight to g5. And guys, let me tell you something, this move is both brilliant move as well as a mistake. Okay, so why I'm saying that this is a brilliant move? Let's see this first. This is because let's suppose if white captured this knight by f takes g5. Now guys, you might be shocked that this is losing. This is because of the move f4. And now this is but why this is losing? Because if you capture this f4 pawn, then black will capture this knight on d4 by this bishop. So that's why the only move for white is to just give up this knight by knight takes e4, but after that f takes e3, and now white is lost. This is because let's suppose if this game continues like king to h1, basically getting out from this getting out from this firing range, but simply knight takes e4, bishop takes e4, bishop takes h3, attacking this queen. And after, so let's suppose this queen moves, queen takes e4 check, king to h2, and after that bishop to e5, and suddenly you can see this game is going out from the range of white. But guys, that's a brilliant move for an amateur player, but not for a genius like Magnus Carlsen. And he spots this entire sequence, so that's why let me go back to the move knight to g5. He in this position finds the best move, which is knight at g goes to e2, and which first of all adds an extra defense to this knight on d4, and secondly white is now threatening to capture this knight on g5. And after that bishop to f6, and you can see here white cannot capture this knight again due to this bishop to e5 check, king to h1, f4, and you can see this situation becomes same, which I showed you earlier. So that's why after the move bishop to f6, here Carlsen goes for bishop to f2. And now finally he grabbed this knight. Okay, so now in this position here black captured this pawn on g5, and as you can see now black is threatening to push a4 with the same idea of this, so that's why to avoid this here Carlsen finds the best move king to h1, getting this king out from any pin. And till here everything was fine, both sides are doing great, but this is the point where things started slipping out from the white hands. He made a mistake by the move rook to g8, and now I just want you all to pause the video and try to find the next crazy move which is played by Carlsen. And now I think most of you got the move. Yes, you are right, the move is knight takes f5, and you can see white is now threatening to capture this queen, so that's why he decides to just exchange the queens. And in this position, Movahed resigned. This is because let's suppose if this game continues like bishop to g7, king takes d3, bishop takes h3, knight to b5 targeting this c7 pawn. So if c6, simply d takes c6, b takes c6, knight takes c6, bishop takes b2 targeting this pawn, but simply bishop to c5 just defending this pawn, which is crucial because this pawn is also stopping this pawn from promotion. So yeah, bishop to f6, knight to e4 targeting this bishop again, but bishop to g7, bishop to d4, bishop to h6, and finally king to c3. And in the next move you can see white is going to capture this a4 pawn, and yup, that's all. What a game by both players. And guys, note one thing, that Sina Movahed is only 15 years old, and he played like, and imagine, he played this game against the chess goat Magnus Carlsen. This is your host Bison signing off. Bye bye.